is available. Companies need to fill internships. I mean, whether it's $10, $15, $20 an hour, it happens. Those opportunities are available. We need to seek them out, but we should make them easier for students to find. They're already there through career services, marketing, and then creating partnerships with local businesses, local mayor's office, local government, local engineering firms, local finance firms, local business firms. We can easily make sure that we can increase retention and ensure that students graduate with not only with experience, but with jobs. Thank you.
Okay, thank you guys again. The next category is going to be student life. So if anybody needs to scroll out again. All right, and then the first question is going to be, how does your party perceive the purpose of student government? And the first question will be for Better Together, and then CS United and CSU First. So again, the question is, how does your party perceive the purpose of student government?
I think there's a lot of misperceptions when it comes to student government, and I think that in general, student government isn't as widely known as it should be on campus. But I think the biggest misperception is that SGA is only here to fund student organizations. That is not true, players. We are here to help every single student with any concern that they have any time of day. So I really want to spearhead that, that SGA isn't just a cash cow for organizations to go to get funding for events. That is part of what we do, and it's a significant part of what we do, but I think that it needs to be known to students that we are here to help you with anything. Like I'm personally very passionate about students on campus being able to form organizations of their own if they can't find what they want. I love that we can come into this large community and kind of form an organization and sift out all these people that we would never know and find people that share the same passions as us that we never would have known had we had the opportunity to do this organization. So personally, I want to make sure that SGA is communicating with every organization that's wanted at least once a month about any concerns. I want to make sure that any student that wants to start an organization or change an existing organization knows how to do that. Because the last reason that a student should be lacking in their college experience is bureaucracy and paperwork.
I agree with Noah. I think SGA in the past has been perceived as like a bank for students. That's where they're told to go for different methods of funding their events or other things. But no, we can do a lot more than that here. We can, I really want to be a representative of the student's voice. I don't think we're having a lot of that. I think the administration is on a different page and the students are on another. Student government is supposed to be filling that gap, and that's what we need to be doing. That's what the Senate is for. We need to be going out, going to all the students we can encounter, whether it's in your college or not, and figure out what their issues are with CSU, not ours. We're representing them. So if they have a complaint that isn't about an organization or it isn't about financing, we need to cover that. And we need to have the conversations with student life to figure out what their perception of the issue is. Because if they think there is no issue with parking, or there is no issue with facility fees, then we need to have conversations to figure out what is the solution that's good for everybody. This shouldn't be us making demands for students. This should be us having conversations, forming relationships, and really finding the solutions that work for all students. If that's possible, I think that's our role, and I think we need to do more of that. I think with the relationships that my team has with different members of CSU, different organizations, different representatives of the student life department, I think we will be able to have these conversations next year, and I think we will have solutions that work for everybody.
So currently serving as the Director of Student Affairs for Student Government, I feel as though our purpose is to bridge the gap not only between students and staff, but also all student organizations. There is a clear gap between us and CAB and us and Greek life, and we are here to kind of make sure that everyone is involved, not just those organizations. I also feel that we're here to serve as that liaison between students and staff, and once again, with the banking issue, everyone does look at us like a bank, and we're not just that, we're here. We have projects, we have certain duties that we need to serve as senators and directors, and those aren't nearly touched upon as any other organization. So we really need to serve as that liaison and really prove to everyone that this isn't just some bank organization, this is actually serious, and we are here for the students.
Okay, the second question is going to be, what priorities will you have as you handle the funds of every non-GFU student organization? So again, we're going to start with Better Together.
I think going into the aspect of SGA that is funding, we need to make sure that funds are adequately distributed to organizations that deserve them and can use them in the most effective ways to make sure that every student on campus gets the most out of those dollars. I think we need to make sure that when we're using money that's coming from the university, that's coming from our pockets, it's not squandered. Because the main purpose of having this funding in the first place and funding these organizations is to enrich the college experience of every single student on campus. So I would personally like to see that we have these fundraising, these finance hearings, and we go through in depth and we discuss with each organization their needs and their priorities and what exactly they want to do with their funding, and just exactly how we can help them and make sure that those funds that are given to them by us as students are exceptionally used and used in the most effective ways possible.
All right, so I do think in the past year, student government has been working to explain the financial process to various student leaders on campus. I know it was done in a different way when I started in SGA, but we're making progress. I think we can continue that. In terms of what Noah was saying, that's something we need to do. Continue to be holding these organizations accountable to what they're using the money for. I had somebody in a student organization who just started who wanted to spend a bunch of money on food at every meeting throughout the entire semester, which tells me they don't understand what the policies are, and that's a problem. I think we need to go more in depth with educating these students. How do we do this properly? How does the process actually work? And if it's confusing, we need to make that resource, it needs to be easier to understand, I think. We can't expect everyone to understand the verbiage that's in there. We need to be ready to explain it to students so it's easier for them to access. And I'm big on accountability. That I wouldn't be funneling money out just to anybody. You have to keep records of where it's going. You have to keep records of why they need the money from SGA. But at the same point, it is their money. They paid tuition to go here, and now they're requesting their money back so they can do something awesome for the campus. So we will be playing a balancing act to see what awesome things can come in next year from these student organizations and how we can make it easier for them to understand the procedures.
So I think there's a lot of room for improvement in terms of SGA funding. What does CSU run off of? What do our organizations run from? The SGA's fund. So I'm on the finance committee in the student government, so I sit through the long finance committee meetings and all of that type of stuff. So I believe that currently we're being very transparent with our processes, but I think there's also always room for improvement in terms of how we distribute the funds. I think there's some room for policy change in terms of maybe t-shirts for larger scale organizations, whatever it may be. I think there's some room to change policy, to look into new types of policy. Because at the end of the day, any money that's left over, where does it go? Will it roll over into the next e-board? It won't. The money will just disappear. The money goes into some fund. So I think we should better change the policies so that we can ensure that some students, yes, they're not using all of their money for food during meetings. Obviously that's wrong, as stated earlier. But I think there's some room for things like this, but maybe just not on the scale that some organizations want. And currently we're being transparent, and I always like to explain our process. What gets denied, what doesn't get denied, just so students can be pre-approved and they don't even have to come to the meetings at all. It's that easy. So I think there's a lot of room for transparency, and I think that under our finance committee, we would ensure that CSU students can request funding easily through their organizations. Thank you.
Okay, so the next category is going to be campus safety. If anybody needs to switch out. The order is going to be CS United, Better Together, and then CSU first. And the first question will be, what can Cleveland State do to improve communication in regards to incidents impacting the campus?
So, as we know, we live in downtown Cleveland, and a lot of things happen all the time. However, one issue that we've noticed is that this semester, there has only been one alert that was sent out, and that was last week. We know of more incidents that should have required an alert. For example, a girl was assaulted in the business building bathroom, and nothing was said to anybody. A lot of students don't know this, and it's important that students are made aware of these issues so they can stay safe as well. Also, recently we have switched apps that are using to alert things. We switched from Viking Shield to Rave Guardian, and most students don't know this. It wasn't well publicized, and I know most of my friends just found this out and realized they still have Viking Shield on their phone. They don't have the Rave Guardian. So if they were ever in a situation when they needed to use the app, they would have the wrong app and would not get a response. So police time response has been very slow. For example, if a student is having an issue and they call an escort, that can take up to 45 minutes. One time I called an escort, it was late at night, I was waiting alone, and it took 45 minutes for an officer to come get me, which was very disheartening and made me not really want to use the service anymore despite needing it. And I know a lot of other people are feeling this way as well. Another personal example that I know has happened to several other people was when I called and they said I canceled even though I never canceled the escort. So I know this is happening to people. Escorts have also told people that they're too far off campus to get help and get an escort, although other people have been able to go that far off campus before. So they are very inconsistent with how far they'll go off campus and how far they are willing to drive people and be there for students.
Hello students, my name is Erica Patterson. So there's an old quote that says, safety is 30% common sense, 80% compliance, and the rest, good luck. Thankfully, we at CSU do not believe this. Here at CSU, we believe that safety is of the utmost importance for students, but we take it very seriously. We are in a downtown area, that safety should be one of our #1 concerns. Our current state of safety here at Cleveland State is that we send alerts to students and their parents when incidents happen on campus. Unfortunately, this process is not as succinct as it could be. There are incidents that aren't reported to students, and we need to change this. We as a student body, as a student voice, as one voice, can approach our administration and our police department and let them know that we want to know exactly what's happening on our campus, not specific incidents. Our police station on campus is located on Chester Avenue for those students who don't know. One of the things that we learn in orientation is where our police station is located. But this is something that we need to make sure that we highlight for new freshman students and even those who commute on campus and might not necessarily pay attention. We have specific apps for students to be able to be safe on campus, specifically the Rave Guardian app. We have our police officers who were passing out flyers at the beginning of the year when we switched over from the Rave Guardian app. But this is something that not a lot of students know about. Student government can join our police safety force and pass out flyers, talk to students, hold meetings, and this is exactly what the Better Together ticket wants to do. We want to make sure that students feel safe on campus, have fun in downtown. One of our taglines for Cleveland State is our city, and the city is our campus. And we want that to be true for our campus, for our security.
So many students live down here, as we all know, and consider this place their home. Personally, for me, in my home, I feel safe. I don't feel as though I need a police escort when I walk out to my car. I don't feel as though I need a police escort when I want to go to my work. This is something that we really want to focus on here and improve at Cleveland State. Whether that means, more details when we get an alert, like what happened, where it was, how did it happen, who was involved, this, that, and the other thing. Also, options on communication. Yes, our alerts do go to our parents for most people and to our cell phones for the most part, but as mentioned earlier, not a lot of people have their Viking email linked with their personal email. Or people change cell phone numbers all the time, and yes, you have to update that stuff, but by the time it gets to it, you never know, basically. Also, making those resources that we already have accessible more accessible and more consistent. Like she said with the police escort, you do have to wait a while, and it doesn't take you as far as you want to go, or they do deny you most of the time. How about we make it to where all of Cleveland is our campus? That's what they say anyway. All of Cleveland is our campus. Why can't you pick me up if I'm on the other side? These are things that we want to improve and definitely bridge the gap between SGA and campus safety, and we will work towards it for you guys.
Okay, thank you guys. And then many of you already got into detail about this. However, the next question would like you to get even more specific. How would your party contribute to safety on campus?
Safety on campus is one of our main concerns and is also a main concern of mine personally. I'm the director of harm reduction and prevention in my sorority, which means safety is always on my mind and is always my priority concern. So going off of that, I'm responsible for keeping people safe in my sorority. I want to extend that to all of you. I want to be responsible for keeping this entire campus safe. And by doing that, like I said, I want to make the escort system better. I want to increase response time and make it a lot lower and make it able to go off campus and be able to pick up people who are far away, as I said earlier, and I think everybody else said as well. I want to be able to make sure that these people who are in trouble are able to call the police a lot faster. For example, on the Raid Guardian app, it is very slow. So slow that people will delete the app because they don't have faith in it. On this app, there is a application where you can text the CSU police. And I know it has taken people several hours to get a response. In that time, it can already have, an event can already have happened. Somebody could already have future trauma because the police took hours to respond to them. Another issue is that the police won't accept anonymous tips from students. This is a huge issue. If you see something happening, you should be able to report it without having to have your name associated with reporting it if you're too nervous to do that. So if somebody's getting hurt and you aren't able to say anything, which is a huge issue that we definitely want to change. So to reiterate, we want to improve the app, and we want to improve the escort system, and we will also listen to any student concerns of safety and take those very seriously as well.
So we kind of touched on some of the specific things that we want to do for campus safety, our campus safety escorts, and all the different things and areas we can improve to feel safe when we're in downtown Cleveland. One of the things that our party would specifically like to focus on is feeling safe amongst other students. Sexual harassment is something that plagues campuses across the country, and we take this extremely seriously. Not only are there safety concerns within the city, but there are also safety concerns for other students. The Better Together ticket would like to address these problems head-on and completely supports the recent initiative that SGA had, Cookies and Consent. Students from all over campus got to sign their own consent form and pledge to a specific behavioral action they would take to respect their other students on campus, and to know that we are all to be held accountable by each other and to make each other feel safe in our dorms, in our hallways, and throughout our campus. Not only do we want to feel safe in our city, but we want to feel safe sitting beside the students in our classes. And so we want to be able to bring those about in this part.
So like most parties touched on, we definitely want to focus on police escorts, and like Erica said, sexual harassment is a very, very, very serious matter that happens across all campuses. In terms of the police escort situation, our party would like to somehow make it so that CSU police and Cleveland police can bridge together and take up, CSU police and campus police can work together in order to come up with a system that would make off-campus incidents that happen to CSU students solved. So, for instance, if you come downtown for school and you park off campus and your car gets broken into, CSU police cannot do anything about it. That's a Cleveland police issue. How about we bridge the gap between those and make it a whole Cleveland and Cleveland State Police issue? As well as just, making the efficiency better in the apps that we have in the resources, allowing for those resources to be more accessible, whether it's providing more of those blue alert emergency light posts throughout campus and putting them closer together. And other situations, like Erica said, with sexual harassment, what CSU United said with anonymous tips. If you witness an anonymous tip and you can't report it, or something happens to you and you want to stay anonymous about it, you should be able to go to the police and go to different resources about that stuff. And we do have that, but it's the accessibility and the awareness of it that we really struggle with. So as a ticket, we really want to focus on that accessibility and the awareness in order to bring peace to our campus.
Great, thank you guys. And then the last category is diversity and inclusion. So if anybody needs to switch, and the order will be CSU first, CSU United, and then Better Together. And the first question will be, where could CSU do better with attempts to include underrepresented groups on campus? So CSU first.
So on campus, there are a lot of organizations. And if you look on Orson, there are a lot of underrepresented groups that have their own smaller organizations. But a lot of times their events go unnoticed. So one thing that the student government could do is we could help market their events. We could help them with hot cards, flyers, banners, posters. I mean, we even have efforts to put a TV in the interlink through our Director of Student Affairs. And in doing so, we could bring more transparency and we can make it clear to students that there are other organizations on campus. And if you really want to go out and learn about other people, because we are a diverse school, it's easy, it's possible, it's there. But at the end of the day, there are a lot of student organizations. But in doing so, we can make it easy for all students to go to new events, to be represented, and to feel that they are wanted on this campus. As a member of the Muslim Student Association, I'm the president of that organization, we sometimes invite a lot of other organizations to our meetings. We go to other organizational groups, and then also, as a member of TRIO, there's a large, diverse group of people in that room. Everybody has intellectual diversity, racial diversity, cultural diversity, and in doing so, you can just network with people, you can get to know people, and in doing so, we can get rid of all of the hate and the oppression. Thank you.
Well, CS United can do better to represent underrepresented groups through, again, like you said, organizations. We promote them through the CC newsletter sent out by Dan Lennart every week. We kind of feature perhaps an organization of the month. For example, as Vice President of the Society of Women Engineers and as the social editor of the Arts and Culture magazine, The Vindicator, not a lot of people know about these organizations. They sometimes, I can hear from other people that SWE doesn't exist, and unfortunately SWE does exist. We do have meetings, but like Omar said, not a lot of people know about these meetings. So if we were to make people more aware of these organizations by promoting them in the newsletter, it would help a lot more. It would help a lot with the attendance in these organizations. And I would like to mention making these underrepresented groups feel more comfortable. We can add things like the gender-neutral bathrooms. For example, the new engineering building does not have gender-neutral bathrooms at the moment. We can provide better counseling, awareness. The current counseling in the building is a little difficult to find, so we could change that. And it would help these underrepresented groups like women engineering, or those who are differently abled, or those who are in the LGBTQ community. They'd be able to feel more comfortable and grow as a result.
There's a quote by Verna Myers, who's the founder and president of a consulting group. Quote, "Diversity is being invited to the party. Inclusion is being asked to dance." I believe this quote wholeheartedly, and I believe that this is something that we need to take to heart as student leaders on campus. We don't just need to invite people from different backgrounds, cultures, and ethnicities to the party, but we have to ask them to dance. So how do we do this? How do we make them feel like they're not only welcome in our campus, in our community, but that they can fully participate in every single way? Some of the highlighted organizations that I've been to, I would like to bring up right now. The Indian Student Organization has a yearly cultural party that brings about more than 400 students and faculty members from all over campus. These students put together great efforts and go to great lengths to show off their culture to the campus community. The Queer Student Alliance had their first kickoff show a little while ago, and I was so happy to go. They attracted more than 120 students, and just a very small group of students brought this together and showed off their cultural aspects as well. The Muslim Student Association has various events, such as Deen and Dine, which show all the students on campus what the Islamic faith is, enriching our campus community and teaching the tenets of Islam. There are many other organizations like the ones that I've listed today that hold different events on campus to show off their special differences on campus. We believe that student government needs to support the efforts of these students. We need to be there full and wholeheartedly to support them and show that SGA not only represents majority student groups, but also minority and diverse student groups as well. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. And then the final question is, how can the university integrate awareness of disability accommodations into the experience at CSU? I'm going to order again with the CSU first, CSU United, and Better Together.
Repeat the question.
How can the university integrate awareness of disability accommodations into the experience at CSU?
So at CSU, as most of us are probably aware, there are accommodations for people that have some sort of disability. But not a lot of people learn about these until maybe it's too late or they get too far behind in a class. For example, have you ever had a professor ask you, does somebody want to take notes for a student with a disability? I mean, I'm going to assume that most of us in our classes. And if we take the time to give these students a zone to basically come forward with this earlier, and if we make it clear to them, like, we're here for you, we're here to support you. If you need more time for exams, no problem. Because I know personally, I have friends that have some type of disabilities, learning disabilities, whether dyslexia, ADHD, ADD, whatever it may be. It affects them and it harms them in their courses and their course studies. And then if it goes unnoticed, if they don't tell their professors early enough, if they don't get their doctor's notes early enough in, then what happens? They start falling behind in their courses. And in doing so, we should be transparent with them. We should be clear with them. We should show them and market to them, hey, we're here for you. It doesn't have to be that hard. We can show them this is the path that you can take. If you go to the Disability Center, the Office of Disability and Services, if you go to them, and then if we start a dialogue with them early on, and we make this clear, then all of these students can begin earlier, and they can get the need that they want, the help that they want, ensuring that our students from the get-go, from day one, they're ready, whether it's notes that they need, or teaching, tutoring, whatever it may be. We have TASC, we have the Med Learning Center, we have all these great resources. So we should use them as a university. We just need to make them more clear to these students. We need to make it more present, more available. Thank you.
For those who are differently able, they are well aware that it is very hard to get accommodations for class, for missing class, exams, similar things. So CSU United would really try to talk with both the staff and the faculty and current student organizations, possibly through leadership conferences and sessions to promote awareness and to really just training sessions to help these differently able students have a better college experience. For example, a personal experience, I took honors yoga last spring, and there was a blind student in my class, and I feel like it was very difficult for him to attend class and really understand what was going on, because the instructor really struggled to explain each step, each pose, so he was very lost all the time. He eventually stopped showing up. So we have training sessions for professors, for students who are very interested, such as we're doing safe space training. These differently able students will be able to get accommodations better, and the university will be able to integrate the awareness much smoothly.
Diversity and inclusion not only touches other ethnicities and cultures, but it also touches those who have accommodation issues as well. Student Government Association is a place that supports all students, and the Better Together ticket wants to elaborate on that more. So in our efforts to be diverse and to be inclusive to all students, we would like to make sure that students know of the resources that are on our campus. One of the big ways to make sure that people know about something is to make sure that we market it well. And so Student Government Association has a specific position for one of our senators or directors to actually market to students. We would like to specifically market to students and make sure that they know that this is something